Carolyn Dube here, and today I'm playing in my art journal, but not in a usual way. This is a completely different way for me. Why am I doing it differently today? Well, because I watched a video about an artist named Sargi Man, and you might have seen this floating around on the internet. Incredible painter, beautiful pieces of work that he creates, but the part that really stood out for me is that he's blind. And I never would have guessed that by looking at his paintings. In fact, I think, how could someone who can't see do that? And I just kept thinking about it, and I kept thinking about it, and I decided I wanted to get an idea of what it was like to do things without such a key sense for me, because so much of what I do is based on what I see. So, I found a bandana, I blindfolded myself, and I painted in my art journal. Well, it was an eye-opener for me. Oh, bad pun, didn't mean that, but you know what I mean. That it really taught me a lot about how things feel, how the senses work together. Really an amazing experience for me. Now, I will say that the finished piece that I made in my art journal, well, it has that look like a 6-year-old did it. And that's okay, because for me it was about playing, it was exploring, and it was how things felt. So it really changed how things felt for me. Well, enough of my talking. Now you can take a peek at what it was like for me to do the painting without using my eye.
So here's how I have everything set up. I've got my cool colors of paint on one side, my warm colors of paint on another, and I've even got a bottle of spray ink. I'm going to take the cap off to make it a little easier for myself. Big brushes for stenciling up there. I've got a brush with the warm colors and a brush with the cool colors. I've got different sizes of stencils. I figure I can feel them and see how, that's how I'll know which one I've got, is either by the size or how it feels. I've got my oil pastels up there for me, so I've got some options. Well, now it's time to put on the bandana. So now I cannot see anything. So at this point, I think I'm all ready and prepared, except I realize I'm not even sure exactly where this page is. So as I put the stencil down, I'm like, oh yeah, I should kind of have an idea of the space that I'm working in. So feel around that, think I felt where the edges are, and guess what? When I go to get some paint, I know I put them in an orderly way, but the only way I could find that paint was by sticking my finger in it and saying, yep, that's paint. And I had to put my finger in all of the paint to find like the third color of paint. So yeah, that didn't quite go as planned. So you'll notice that I keep getting paint all over my fingers. The other problem that I have is that I don't know how much paint I have on the brush. I'm not exactly sure what I'm doing with it. I hadn't even touched the brush to see if there was paint on it. And I'm finding it really entertaining going back and looking at what I've done with my eyes open as I'm doing the voiceover for you now, because I can tell that I really tend to stay in certain areas with my paint and my color. And I'm actually avoiding one whole area, but I'll tell you, in my mind, I thought I was doing the entire art journal spread because I knew where that corner was and I knew where this corner was, but for some reason that top right corner, I just avoided it like it was the plague. And things are going really well here. I feel pretty good painting these little eyeballs in here. I'm going to add in now some oil pastels. And I've got the whole box, but I don't know which color is which because I know color by sight, not by feel. So I had to rely on the fact that the shorter ones were the ones that I liked the most because I use them more. But now I want to use Maria's seed stencil with yellow paint. Got the stencil, but finding the paint here, I mean, check this out. I'm like just fumbling all around. Finally had to stick my finger in a little bit to find it. There it is, finally hit it. Now I've got paint to put on that stencil. But that's what this whole thing was like for me, was, am I actually in the paint? How much paint is on the brush? This was a lot more complex than I ever anticipated. But it was also extremely rewarding because I really felt what I was doing. It was very tactile for me, so as much as I love putting texture in my art, by doing it this way, I was able to feel more of what I was doing. And the urge to take the blindfold off was powerful. I wanted to go back and lean back on that eyesight. This is by no means a finished piece of anything. Right now it pretty much looks like a mess. But I'm really drawn to the way the mess works within it. So this is going to be a great start to an art journal page for me. Well, thanks for joining me for a little play and experimentation here in the art journal. If you've enjoyed this video, I'd love it if you subscribed to my YouTube channel. And of course, I'd love it if you stopped over at the blog and said hello at acolorfuljourney.com. And a huge thank you to Sargi Man for inspiring today's play. Thanks for being a part of this colorful journey.